Welcome back to ARTtech Seminars. So this morning we'll be focusing on careers, and I think Assembly has quite a special part in game developers and IT professionals' history in their careers. I know a lot of starts of companies and friendships and ideas that have started or been nurtured at Assembly. Now I'm going to talk and have a discussion with Johannes Vuorinen, who is very successful and quite experienced game developer, game coder. He's also the founder and CEO of Frogmind. So I would warmly like to welcome Johannes on stage.
All right.
So welcome. Hi.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm very curious about beginning of careers and what events like Assembly have and what type of an impact has it had in your career. So what's your relationship to Assembly?
Yeah. So Assembly has a lot of speciality, and it has definitely a special place in my heart for me. So I think I first went to Assembly in 1999. I think it was the first time it was in Hartwall Arena, and yeah, I was back then. How old I was? Maybe 15. Yeah, 15. So it was all about gaming, Counter-Strike, Quake, etc. Not about demoing. But during the Assembly times then and the following years, I started to see these demos in the big screen, and I think it was really inspiring for me to see them, and I kind of started to dream that hey, one day I want to be in that big screen, maybe with a demo. But soon I realized that these guys who make these are wizards. So it was kind of in a way depressing that, okay, I cannot ever be that kind of wizard. So I guess that's why I never tried to make a demo, but at the same time, I went to college to Helsinki University of Technology and started to learn some coding, etc. And I started to play some games. Make some simple games, etc., and start to realize that maybe it's not that difficult, like that it seems. And yeah, this is a long story. In total, I don't know if you have following questions, but in short, then we started to make first some short films to Assembly. You don't need to code. Making short films, so we have made 3 or 4 short films for Assembly or Wild Combo, but 2 of them have only been big screen. And then in 2008, I think 9 years ago, we made one game to gamedev combo, and actually that game is very much or BADLAND, which is the game by Frogmind, it has very much roots in that game, in gameplay wise.
But
yeah.
Was it successful, the game or the short films?
Short films. The first short film we made was this Star Wars fan film, where we've just concentrated on the effect side, lightsaber effects and all these cool shit you can do with After Effects, Adobe After Effects, or was it Adobe?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Adobe.
It was not about the story or anything, it was more just the effects. But we didn't make it to the big screen with that, but then next year I think we just wanted to focus more on the story side as well and make even cooler effects, and then we made it to the big screen, and it
Yes.
felt amazing. And I think it was 2003 or 4. It was called The Siberianist, and we were acting in that as well. So yeah, it was good to be in the big screen and see and hear how people laughed to some of our jokes, etc. It felt good for us, and I think we were fourth with that. So yeah,
Nice.
we didn't win, but fourth was nice. Like
Yeah.
the best not winning place, or best not pricing ceremony place. And then yeah, we made another one as well, Star Wars fan film, and I think it was something like fourth as well. So yeah, I don't know if we reached pricing ceremony with any of our stuff.
But
No.
clearly that didn't really like matter. Like that wasn't the
No,
goal
no.
to actually
Of
get
course,
the
like
first
of course
prize.
you want to win always.
Yeah.
But the big screen was the kind of like the
goal.
thing, for, and it also always feels good when you see your stuff in the big screen. I forgot to mention, before these Star Wars fan films, we of course there was a gaming tournament also here in Assembly, like one of the first ones in 2000 or something like that. I think the game was Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and in that we were actually third. So yeah, I have been in the pricing ceremony once by gaming,
Yeah.
but not with games or short films or demos. Yeah.
So I'm actually quite curious because when I know you in some way, but actually, of course, don't know all the like details of your past. And
Yeah.
when I was preparing, I actually checked the different like short films you have done.
Yeah.
So that actually made me like very curious. Like, did you ever had an option like whether I go to like software development or making movies or I don't know ads or something like that?
I think when we were making these short films, we were just in high school. So I remember, we made this with a couple of my friends, and I remember we talked after high school that hey, we should go to some school and make some cool movie effects. And but also we liked very much like mathematics and physics, so we didn't want to just go to very like art specific thing, but more like this kind of research, how to research some cool effects. So so I guess that led us to somewhat to Helsinki University of Technology when there was some computer graphics, etc. Like courses. But actually, I didn't start as a in the IT department of school. I actually went first to just to study physics and then automation because I wanted to create the Terminator in my adulthood. But I realized there's too much time needed, so I switched to programming as gaming is much more easier.
Yeah. So I also read that you, I don't know, in the your website that you done like you like created like I don't know years back, but you wrote there that you sort of got more into games when you went to a lecture on like real-time graphics. So
Yeah.
Was that a coincidence, or did you have to go there, or was it like something you wanted to, or did you just like stumbled upon the topic?
I think it was so that I was in my first kind of like real summer job, actually exactly 10 years ago. So exactly 10 years ago, and I was in some kind of, well, they were doing some boring software stuff, and I realized that I don't want to spend my life doing this kind of stuff. And I think that moment I started to really see like, okay, what if I go to game programming, like really go to game programming and not just like some random developing every now and then in my spare time. And during that time, I think I noticed the computer graphics courses in the Helsinki University of Technology, and that year I also changed to computer science. Yeah, computer science is the word. Computer science in Helsinki University of Technology. So I actually switched 2 times the department. So in 3 years. so yeah, first to just physics because I liked mathematics. Then I wanted to make a Terminator. Went to automation. Then realized that Terminators are too difficult to make, and I wanted results faster. And then went to computer science to learn game programming more. So yeah, so it was two things. So I realized that programming some software is boring, and games are cool, and they have gaming has a special place in my heart always. And game development was fun because you can see the results of your coding immediately. It's so satisfying. So I guess those were the reasons. And also, yeah, it's nice that there were these courses in computer science in Helsinki University of Technology, or Aalto-yliopisto nowadays.
Yeah. But did you have, like, you seem like quite like target-driven developer. So did you have a goal of like creating like the craziest, maddest like shaders, or becoming the best ever like C++ programmer or something like that, or did you have anything like of sort?
I think for me it's always been that I want to create some kind of product or game that is actually like released. So I'm not that interested. I've never been that interested in like engine programming or that kind of stuff where you don't kind of like see the end result and you cannot release it that easy. So that's why, for example, the gamedev compo we participated in 2008. It was actually a Flash game, I think, the Tunnel Dodge. That game, I think we made it with my friend in 1 month. Yeah, we started in June. We didn't go to any summer job, so we just spent the July, and make that and participate in the gamedev compo.
This to sort of move from the discussion of like relevance of assembly more to like decisions you did later. So again, I've been reading your CV, and there are basically two things I want to dig a bit deeper.
Yeah.
The first is, which you basically a bit touched upon already, was the decision you made when you were sort of figuring out what to do in your career. You had done some game projects before at Universamo, and then you switched to NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And I want to ask this because you also wrote that one of your goals or one of your things, that drives you is that you want to evolve and learn.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, okay, NVIDIA actually provides like a lot of possibilities, both like super skilled, like engineers or developers, a lot of possibilities, but you decided to basically quit your job within like a couple of months.
Yeah. So the NVIDIA case was so that, yeah, Universal was my first game company that I then joined after the summer, the next summer of the boring software development summer I had. So yeah, in 1 year when I decided that I wanna like a game development career, I got the first game development job in Universamo. But Universamo, it was acquired by THQ Wireless, and THQ Wireless went bankrupt, and they closed the studio. So during that time, I have heard a lot of good stuff about NVIDIA, and they are awesome people. So there was like a good place that, okay, I want to try as well, like really low-end programming and see how it feels, because I haven't done that much at that time. But it was the same thing that I want to see like animation, I want to see nice characters that obey the code I have written, etc. And that you cannot do that when you are making drivers, etc. So that's why I switched from NVIDIA to Redlynx then and make some console games.
Okay, that was actually quite clear. Yeah. Like usually, like many people, including me, like it's of course like afterwards, many career choices seem very like obvious ones. Yeah. But when you actually do it, it's really, really hard in that moment to actually decide. But it feels like, okay, in your case, you actually had like very clear driver to actually create like consumer products or games. that are more like diverse than, as you said, like engineers or like drivers.
Yeah, I think like a key thing has been that if I haven't like felt home, I change quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why I have switched 3 times or 2 times the school and also jobs in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another interesting that at least I find interesting moment in your career is actually when you went to Redlynx to actually create an Xbox 360 title.
Yeah.
Because that was the moment, or around that time, there were a lot of like a buzz about touchscreen gaming. There were games like Doodle Jump and Spider, and the first Angry Birds was released in December 2009.
Yeah.
So basically, there was already like some indications that things are moving in like premium mobile games, and yet you went to create a console title.
Yeah, I guess it was because we were in the Universal mode where we were making these old mobile games,
like Java,
these Java games to old Nokia phones, etc. The games were really bad, and I don't know if anyone even played them. No one knew. Like you had to read these magazines and see these cell phone numbers and send text messages to download them. I don't think anyone did that, but I guess they were. I don't know the business side of things, but I guess they were like just contracted to do those games. But anyways, having seen that and having seen Redlynx making cool stuff like Trials, so it was like a huge difference that really inspired that okay, I want to do some cool shit and not these like Java mobile games anymore. So that's why I went there, but I didn't follow the business side of things at that moment at all. I was just like purely just programming, etc. So obviously, like now, looking at back things, of course, mobile. You should have made mobile games starting that year, especially. But yeah, it was more like this programmer drive that made me go to Redlynx.
Yeah. Okay, the third very interesting moment in your life is when you basically founded Frogmind.
Yeah.
So you were basically already like a couple of years late, and you were basically like, okay, somewhat experienced, but quite like nobody. So where did you find the strength or courage to actually found a company?
Well, it was in a way easy because of the App Store and how easy it is to publish there. There were plenty of examples of other companies, 2-man companies, or even 1-man or girl companies or woman companies that have made success in App Store. So that really inspired us that you don't need publishers anymore or a giant team, etc. You just made the game, then press a button, and it's there in the App Store. So then during Redlynx, we started to think about this idea that what if we try this ourselves as well, and then my artist friend Johanna and I decided that okay, now we have finished our games in Redlynx, Trials Evolution and Moto Heroes, so now it's a good time to just take the leap and try it out. It doesn't, like, it's 1 year and the game is out, and yeah, we didn't want any like external money or external publishers or anything external. We just wanted to focus on making the game and release it and see what happens. And that was in a way very simple. We were in just this small room in Ruoholahti, and we just had 2 computers there and a TV between where there was FIFA. We played some FIFA every now and then, and just made the game, basically. And I think that's like still the reality. Of course, like but the competition was hard that time as well. But it's getting harder and harder in a way. But but still, it's a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the challenge always is that in every moment it seems that okay, now it's more than 20,000 games being released each month on mobile platforms. That's huge, but back in the days, even then it was like a fierce competition. So it wasn't really like, hey, let's just, come up with an idea of a game studio and, hope for the best. But what I'm curious about is like sort of your relation, because this Frogmind is a two-man, or started as a two-man company. So did you actually work in the same project at Redlynx? Or how did you build the trust towards like Johanna that you actually can, are certain that you can get something done?
So you mean like us?
You and Johanna, like how did you, was there any like doubts that, hey, what if like everything will go wrong, you don't really communicate as you should?
Well, I don't know. We didn't think that much. We just let's make this game, and we didn't do any, like any contracts or any of this company stuff that you should make.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anyone of you will make a company, make those contracts in the beginning. I have heard that advice at that time as well, but we didn't listen. But anyways. So it was more like that, okay, if we fail, well, we had at least made a game ourselves. That was also like a personal thing for both of us, that we want to make like a new IP from scratch, from beginning to the end, and release it, and be proud of at least that, even if it doesn't succeed. At least it's a game that we can like truly say it was made by us and not like some other company we were working on.
Okay, so your goal wasn't to like, let's like freaking make this successful, otherwise we, our wives will have to support us.
No, talking about wives supported us during that year. Having no kids, etc. At that point, it kind of worked. Obviously, in many cases, it's not possible to do like that, but in our case, it worked. But it was tough 1 year. So. Like all the savings, etc., were out, etc. So, but it proved to be a great move in the end. So but like, so retrospective, I don't think if we have failed, I think it would have still been an awesome experience. And just like as a programmer, I learned a lot, and as a game developer in general, I learned a lot. I learned about making business, etc., a lot of stuff. And I think life is about learning and evolving, so you should, like, success is nice, but learning is better.
So what did you learn about marketing to get visibility to BADLAND?
Well, marketing, well, I don't know if we learned that much because we got so much free marketing from Apple, but
how did you end up like have the good relationship with Apple?
Well, it was all about that we make a game that will make the iPhones and iPads look awesome. So it was really like game first thinking, that if the screenshots and the icon and everything looks awesome, then we knew that Apple loves awesome looking stuff. So that was our strategy. Of course, it's risky, but we didn't have any other option, and we didn't have any like a marketing budget. But I don't know if like this marketing budget thing is also something that like everyone keeps saying that, hey, we didn't have marketing budget, and that's why our game failed. I don't believe in that at all. I think the game like itself must be a success, and then you can just multiply it by the marketing budget. So yeah, I don't take that excuse from anyone.
But you actually mentioned that one specific, like a special thing about the title is like Johannes art.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, you are not an artist, so I don't know. Can you tell me something about like how did you end up creating the like atmospheric sort of visual style of the game, because that clearly was the sort of the angle. Yeah. How did you get to a good relationship with Apple?
So Limbo was released in, well, somewhere nearby, maybe
2009.
2009 already?
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, Limbo was like a really nice looking indie game and really atmospheric. So we thought that, okay, what if we like make like some kind of like atmospheric really cool looking game on mobile that no one has done it. At least at that point, like it was all about these more like flash game looking games. Like Angry Birds was very successful, and Candy Crush, etc. More like these that look and a bit more like flash game and not console games. So we wanted to stand out of the crowd by making a console-looking game on mobile. So that proved to work well, and I think that was one of the reasons why Apple also was interested, because it was something different from all the really colorful casual games.
Yeah. But so you started as an iOS, or BADLAND started as an iOS title, and then you basically ported it to every possible platform. Why?
This is also like something that is like the programming me talking. So obviously like it's interesting challenge to get your game everywhere. So
sorry, by everywhere, so not only mobile but like PS, like whatever, 4, 3.
Yeah, I don't actually know how many platforms there are, but every mobile platform, BlackBerry, iOS, Android, Windows Phone, and a lot of like Samsung, etc. But yeah, they're Android based. Then it's PC, Mac, Linux. Then it's Xbox One, not Xbox 360. That we skip because it was too difficult to publish there. PS3, PS4, PS Vita, and Nintendo Wii. Yeah, so almost everywhere. But it was like we had resources to do that. We find good partners that helped us in co-publishing, like Frozen Byte helped us to co-publish it, and also we have a co-developer that helped us in the porting work. So it was not all us. So maybe that would have been a stupid thing to do, just to concentrate on porting ourselves. But it was more like a cooperation. But it was also like we wanted to see like how this kind of like mobile game that looks like a console game performs on consoles, and yeah, we learned that not so well maybe, and that's why in BADLAND 2 we didn't port it to anywhere else. But if that be another case, we have of course ported BADLAND 2 as well.
All right, yeah. So you basically didn't have that many successes or any successes in the console PC.
I mean, they are like nice. Nice, but not enough to like that we would do the same to the sequel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for a small company, like they were okay successes, but not like on mobile.
Yeah. Always when you are creating a product, whether it to be game or something else, there are moments. Even if like BADLAND, it took something like a year for you to put together. But even like within a year, I'm sure there are moments where you basically doubt, is this really, should we do it this way or should it be that way? Did you have any like radical changes done during the development or pivoting of the project?
Well, I think in the beginning it was supposed to be just, this kind of runner type of game where the content is generated, but then we realized that we cannot just have enough interesting gameplay with that, so that led to us making all the levels and making a level editor, etc. And that was one of the like big learning experiences from Redlynx. I was there programming the level editor for Trials Evolution. That was a huge help for BADLAND's editor. And also physics game space, I guess, was because of that, because in Redlynx, Trials is very physics-based, so I was very familiar with physics-based programming. Yeah.
So before, I'm going to open a floor for questions in a bit. I have a few more questions about basically where Frogmind is going, as Frogmind, the majority stake was acquired by Supercell last year, and I think I've heard from you that you are focusing on multiplayer or social type of titles. So can you tell anything like what the team is up to right now and how big is your team?
Yeah, so maybe I'll tell something about like what has happened in Frogmind in general. So first we were two guys, made BADLAND 1. It was like success. We wanted to do a sequel, but also at the same time we noticed that free-to-play Supercell is making these crazy successes and free-to-play is taking over the mobile. So we started another team or started to build another team to make a free-to-play game. So we have been making free-to-play game since 2014 now, and BADLAND 2 was released in 2015 Christmas. And eventually we hired with our own like profits or the money revenue we got from BADLAND games. We hired like 10 people, so we have been like a little bit over 10 for we were a little bit over 10 for 3 years, and now we are 16. So not like huge growth in people, but we are really like picky, I would say, with developers, because we really want that everyone can just like wear multiple hats and develop games as in small teams. So currently, although we are 16 people, we are creating 3 new games. All of them are free to play, and one of them actually is gonna soft launch pretty soon. And what I can tell you about them, well, they are physics-based because we love physics-based games, and yes, they are multiplayer all. So I think especially in free-to-play, multiplayer is super important. So they are multiplayer and physics-based, and they are cool.
Do you have some like a big goal, like personally or as Frogmind?
Yeah, big goal.
Big dream or something?
Well, I guess now, since I think we were, well, there's always Minecraft, which is the epic premium success, but compared to that, we were nothing, but we were still okay premium success. But now I think we want to prove ourselves that we can also do it in free-to-play. So that's why we're focusing fully on that. So I think that's the short-term goal, that or long-term goal as well, that it maybe doesn't succeed at first with these games, but maybe at some day, and we prove to be successful in free-to-play as well. And also in long-term, I mean, I want Frogmind to be here like the rest of my life.
Yes.
and be an awesome working place. I mean, it's been a huge personal growth, like from this pure programmer, gamer, to trying to be like businessman. I still in my heart always a programmer, but still like it's been very interesting to learn the business sides of things and think about like big picture as well, and not just the lines of code.
Cool. So now you have actually brought your team to assembly.
Yes.
What's that?
yes, we are here actually, almost every one of us. So we are actually in G13 section. We are not yet there, but we are soon there. And yeah, I guess we're just playing games here and taking a break from the development side of things and try to relax.
Hey, but what about combos? We have game jam, whatnot, so there's plenty of things to do.
Yeah, there are, but we rather now just relax and play games and watch what others have done, because it's also always cool to see what people create. It's crazy how much time people spend, and it's really awesome that they do it.
Mm. Yeah, that I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, my last question, so be prepared with your questions. The last question is, okay, you were here 10 years ago. If you would be, and soon you will be, walking around and you basically meet your sort of yourself, so young, very eager, maybe student, maybe like someone still at like the primary school, very eager to figure out like how to get into games. What would be your sort of advice?
I think it's just that you should just start doing, like, there was this YouTube video, just do it. And it's all about that. So but not alone. Alone doing is very, very difficult. Like, you need someone to like talk to at least, like at least one partner to make those games or demos or whatever, short films or art or whatever, and just keep doing. And I think assembly is a good way. Just submit something to the competitions. It doesn't matter if you don't go to or you don't get to the big screen at first, maybe not second, not even third, but you learn a lot when you enter these competitions, and failing is the only way to learn. So
Only way. That's quite harsh.
no, well, the best way to learn, and it's kind of funny that like you said that like I've been here for now 17 or 18 years, and it kind of like I feel it's still the same here. So when I'm there, like I went to the computer place already, and there's a lot of like a lot younger people than me, but it's kind of feels like we're the same, like same age. It's a good feeling, and it feels home.
Yeah, I think that's a special thing about assembly.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you so much for having the chat with me.
Thank you.
As you noticed, before the discussion started, we run Remedy showreel, which means that Remedy is the ARTtech sponsor, which also means that I will be giving a special treat, so basically games, to those ones who want to ask questions. Are there any questions to Johannes? Wait for the microphone.
Okay. So this means I get a treat, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I was actually interested in the comment you made about the level editor.
Yeah.
What kind of an impact did that have into your development process?
A huge. I mean, it's like the game is actually in a way the level editor.
Okay.
It's the level editor is nowadays included in the game if you download it from App Store. It's only on the mobile versions. So it's been made with that editor. Just like Trials Evolution, in a way it was the editor that was the game. You know, like you can play the game with the editor, etc. So it's kind of like the same kind of approach.
Okay.
And the good thing about it is that the iteration loop is so short. You can instantly test with the actual device and not you know like testing. Well, compiling is another thing, but if like testing on PC and then playing on mobile, it's completely different to play on with mouse or touch. Yeah.
One more question. I've always thought your backgrounds looked really awesome in Badlands, and I love the way that the color or the lighting works in the background.
Yeah.
And I can never figure out, were you doing something in real time, or was that just drawn, just a sprite or PNG files like put on top of the background?
It's all like there's nothing wizard in it, so it's drawn, and then there are like multiple layers on top of it with different parallax and then like animations, you know, like some magic, like some of the like some really simple like lightning effects, but mostly it's just like non-real-time PNGs.
Okay, but they look awesome, so.
Yeah, I think that's why it looks good, because it doesn't have the real-time thing. If we would have tried to be real-time on mobile, especially in 2013, it wouldn't look as good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I have been developing a game as a hobby.
Cool.
I went for iOS, and I actually encountered a slight issue with iOS 9 and actually iPad 2. So when you have a platform where you have like 6-year-old hardware devices, how do you decide or how do you make the decision? Do you drop some effects, or how do you like keep the constant user experience the same across these different specs?
Yeah. For us, it's always been important that the gameplay is as good as possible, and you can always compromise with the visuals. So trying to keep the 60 FPS, for example, has been very important. And for the visuals, for example, in BADLAND, I mean, it's on Android, so there's a lot of bad devices there already in 2013, and yeah, on iOS it's kind of way in the same situation now, that there are those old devices that you need to support, or you don't need to, but it's a good thing to support them. We dropped, for example, in BADLAND there are some layers that are missing in the old devices, and there are less sounds, I think, than there are. Mostly it's about like just some layers, some lightning effect layers, etc. are away or are gone, and maybe some other like small tweaks, but that's the biggest one. Just some graphics away. Okay.
So we have time for one question if there is. Yeah, the last one.
So now that the game has been released, do you move on to new projects immediately, or do you still update the old games, so-called old games?
Well, we have been updating BADLAND for 4 years now, or we kind of have stopped it, updating it like heavily. We released the level editor last autumn, and that was kind of like the last big update that people can just make the levels themselves and share them to each other and have endless content. For BADLAND 2, we have been updating it since Christmas 2015 with a couple of updates, and a couple of updates probably still coming. But mainly we are focusing on the new games, because like that's where we see also the biggest growth as a businessman, but also the interesting challenges as a game developer.
Thank you for all the questions. Thank you, Johannes.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you.